Hi guys, it's Erin here with another layout, and this is another photo of Mike and Sirius, and I'm using a bunch of papers from the Shimelle line, her newer collection, and some Pink Paisley Atlas, as well as the heart paper is from Chickanitty. And yeah, it does make it on the layout. I was like, I don't think it makes it on the layout, but it does. I had this idea for a bunch of squares, and so I'm just I'm not even planning it, I'm just winging it completely. Uh, but I really liked the way the colors went with, Mike and, the idea of boys and boy personality, and Mike wears a lot of blue, his eyes are blue, Sirius's jacket is blue, so I thought I would just make good use of all the blue that I had. And so this is another layout where I just kind of fuss around with it a lot, and you'll see how little I I actually plan things out because it's totally messed up with the pieces not being the correct sizes. And then I wanted to somehow fit this film strip in there too, and I'm like, well, that's not really going to go because none of these things fit. And some of them aren't exactly the same color, like that arrow paper is not the same white as the white dot paper. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So there's that craziness. And then I thought, you know what it needs is something to ground all of these photos and separate them from the background. So I go looking for a background, and I find one. I thought I would use gray at first, and that didn't work. And apparently I'm hitting the camera a lot, and I'm sorry. This one I thought about, but it's too much, it's too busy compared to all the patterns I want to use. And if I flip it over, it's dots, and I didn't want to add more dots. So I end up going with lines instead because I don't have enough lines in this layout. And this is another one where, I had just gotten a cherry on top package, and I wanted to just make a layout right away. So I made it after the last layout you saw. And so this is a piece of Simple Stories I Am paper from their backgrounds instead of the actual paper itself. And it's a different aqua, but it's still aqua, and I think that, this kind of greenish aqua and bluish aqua can go together. And since they are different, it kind of complements it and makes it show up better. And so I just kind of outlined it so you could see where those boundaries were, and so I could see them while I was building up the background. Excuse me if I go silent every once in a while, and I have to mute myself so I can cough. So now I've built the boundaries of where I want the squares to fit in, and now I have to somehow fit them in there. And I thought, okay, well, if I cut those two pieces down a little, they'll actually fit. But now that one thing has the doodles on it, the rest of them have to. So I just very quickly went over all of the squares with a pen. And I'm definitely not trying to be neat. I'm actually trying to be messy, and I'm being neat while I'm trying to be messy. It's ridiculous. So some of them I have to go over it several times just to get a differentiation between the lines, because I kept matching up too much, and it was driving me crazy. And you'll see once again, I'm going to still mess around with the placement of those squares, but I'll get it right eventually. And I didn't outline that because it's silver and it's glittery, and my pen would have just completely messed it up. So now I'm finally going to put glue to it, and I'm going to hope that I like it the way it is, because once I get all of these pieces down, I'm not going to be able to get them up. So I thought that since there was so little cream in this layout that I didn't want to show too much of the arrow paper, but I didn't want to not include it because A, I'd already cut it, and B, I did like it on the layout. So I'm just going to put my photo on it, and then that way it's not this huge glaring thing, but you can still see that is drawing attention to the photo. And I used a photo from this similar time on the Disneyland layouts, which you've probably seen, But this one is actually just going to be about Mike and Sirius and kind of like their relationship. And I'm glad that, while Mike may not be good with kids, he's really good with animals, and it works out because we don't have human kids, we have animals. So, even a small dog, which he prefers big dogs. Even a small dog, he is just a really good pet parent, I guess you would call him. And so the first time I took this photo, he kind of leaned in and kissed Sirius's head. So that's what this photo is. And then the one I used on the Disneyland layout was just the two of them looking at me. And I'm going to embellish with some of the glitter dots from Doodlebug, which are almost the same color as the background aqua, but not quite. So they're just a little bit different. And I was gonna call it done there, and I was trying to get some more die cuts in there. Those were the die cuts from the Summer Vibes collection by Simple Stories, but that wasn't really working. So I thought, what if I use clouds? And so these clouds are by Pretty Little Studio, and they're the really, really light watercolor ones. And I thought that that would be best because they weren't going to draw attention, but they were going to break up some of the squareness and the starkness of the layout, which kind of doesn't work for the dialogue, or not dialogue, the journaling, starkness anyway. So that's how I'm going to call it done. So thank you very much for watching, and that's the layout. Bye-bye.